Now, the world of sports is celebrating one of the greatest athletes to ever pick up a tennis racket, Spanish superstar Rafael Nadal. The King of Clay bade farewell to the sport this week after his campaign at the Davis Cup. As a 22-time Grand Slam champion prepares for his second act, we examine the legacy of the one and only Rafa Nadal with tennis analyst Bea Fabregas-Ramos, who joins us live on the phone from Singapore. Good morning, Bea. Thank you very much for joining us.
Morning, Pao. Morning, Monique and Anne. Thanks for having me.
Nagulat ako sa picture that we're showing here of you. I cannot wait.
You should have seen Paolo. He jumped up his seat when they showed your picture.
What did you guys choose?
Bea, you're going to find out.
Maganda,
Don't
yes.
worry,
You look so
really
beautiful.
nice picture.
Masyadong fierce,
That shocked
Bea.
Pao. I
Oh
don't
my
think Pao
goodness.
was ready for that.
Lashes on point.
Sobrang
Super.
on point.
Okay,
You
good.
look like
good.
Miss Universe Philippines.
All right, Bea. Before I was surprised by that, let's talk first about Rafa Nadal and yung legacy niya, because I know
course.
he's not your number one in life. All right, we all know you're a big Fed fan, and you
Yeah.
would cry over him. But then Rafa Nadal is also one of those guys who has left such a legacy and an impact on this sport. Just what
Absolutely.
was he to you as a tennis fan on global tennis?
I mean, you know, it's honestly very, very weird, if I'm gonna be real, to see that this era has finally come to a close. I mean, I think it's been one of those very weird things that we knew as tennis fans as we were watching, you know, the greats, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and Murray, you know, all together and year after year after year, just dominating the sport. And we've kind of seen that, you know, in the past few years, that we've seen Sinner, we've seen Alcaraz, and, you know, it's like, okay, it's kind of creeping in on us, you know, like it's coming to a close. And, you know, we saw that Nadal was really trying to make everything work, and he would take breaks and choose his tournaments. Obviously, Roland Garros, everybody kind of knew that was the last one. So it feels very strange that this has, you know, that we've been through the 20 plus years of their career. It's impossible to actually describe the legacy, because it's touched millions of fans, you know. I mean, Nadal is just, he's known for so many things, but I think for me personally, it's that fight. You know, just from start to finish, it does not matter, you know, what the score is. Obviously, he's dominated so many moments, but it's just how you know that he loves the sport so much, and how he's been able to maintain that consistency on the court, whether it was his first year on the tour or his last year on the tour. Parang ano talaga siya, all out from start to finish. And I think that's so inspiring, and it kind of trickles down to, you know, whether you play tennis or not, if you watch the man, you will be inspired.
Siya yung nagpauso ng sleeveless shirts when he
Absolutely.
started playing, and those arms definitely got a lot of people going to the gym. Pero Bea, you listed down 5 moments from his career. We're going to start off first with the fact that he was the king of clay, Roland Garros, just
Sure.
14 French Open titles. Why was that your number 5, as we bring up your list in just a bit?
Well, first of all, no particular order. Again, it's been like, I think he turned pro in 2001. So it's been it's an amazing career. But I remember listening to a podcast. I was listening to Andy Roddick talk about Nadal. And, you know, this is Andy Roddick, a US Open champion, talking about just how difficult it is to play Nadal on clay.
Yeah.
Literally, like, you're nervous trying to return that serve. And, you know, for me, I'm just like, you know, for him to say that, it was just such a wonderful kind of like peek into the game and understand how dominant he has been on this court. I mean, 14 times is just like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't even count it with both your hands, right? So I just, unfortunately, I never got to watch him there live. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to be part of the game still, just how kind of like Federer, you know, pops in every now and then because they love the sport so much. But I think it's a testament to his consistency and how he just was basically unbeatable on that court. If it wasn't for injury, if he was 100% healthy, you're trembling. You're trembling if you're on the other side of the court in Roland Garros. So yeah, you gotta be like, you know, wow, 14. I mean, I think even the Instagram page of Roland Garros is very emotional. If you check out their Instagram page, I think the social media manager is crying because they love him so much.
No, that's
You
true.
know?
Mo, we were talking a bit a while ago just about how sports icons in general, they just don't never leave us. And
Right.
kasi for Bea, you have to understand that Roger Federer is her guy.
Right.
Now,
The big
she
divide, Rafa
connected,
versus Fed.
she connected it actually with her number 4 item here, and it looks like him being able to come in for the retirement match
Right.
of Federer and play a double. So why is this very biased choice on your list, Bea?
Okay, no. First of all, let me explain. I honestly, you know what? I really feel like there's never going to be anything like Fedal ever again because two greats, two rivals,
Yup.
two friends. So it was kind of refreshing to see how they were so amazing off the court, how they were comforting each other during ceremonies, whether who won. And then, on the court, it's like this battle. Of course, we know that Federer is a little older, so I think the rivalry really kind of, when it comes to like batchmates, diba? Djokovic talaga yung batchmate ni Nadal. But
Yeah.
I think it's because Nadal came onto the tour young and, just with all that energy, guns blazing, let's go. And so and Federer was on top of his game. And Federer has said it many times that he knew that he was like, okay, there's trouble around the corner once he started playing Nadal. And I think I just have to mention, that Nadal making it to Federer's retirement and playing the last match of Federer was a doubles match with Nadal. I mean, can you imagine? Like, that's how he wanted to end his career.
Yeah.
With Nadal right next to him, they were sobbing. They were holding hands. Like we were all sobbing with him. And, Ellie Goulding was singing her heart out. Like, it was just like such an iconic moment. Every time I hear that song, I cry. And,
Yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Nadal's wife was about to give birth.
Yeah.
So I mean, we all know family is everything, and it just kind of puts it into perspective how much Federer means to Nadal. And so he wanted to be there, and I think as tennis fans, it was just such a powerful moment. And you can see that you can be great, but you can also be a really good person at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just a wonderful moment, and that's definitely in my, my list, my biased list.
Bias list.
Pero Bea, the bromance obviously is there. I don't think it'll ever die. That's one thing that will
I
never
think
end.
it's
Yeah.
the cutest
Yes,
thing
yes.
ever.
But talk about legacy. He never just played for himself because his Olympic record also
Yes.
was a something here
And
for
that's
Spain.
actually on Bea's list at number 3, Bea, Nadal in Paris for the Olympics. Rafa Nadal is, of course, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Why is this on your list?
I think this last one was pretty. I mean, I just, obviously Roland Garros, him holding that, the torch and everything. It was again one of those moments in sports history during the ceremony where he wasn't playing tennis, but like everybody could just feel his impact. You know what I mean? And we saw those photos, and it's giving me goosebumps right now as I'm thinking about it, because I think that's the beauty of sports. Yes, it's a game, but it goes beyond that. And Nadal, we don't even have to. I was gonna save this for later, but like when we're talking about influence, we don't have to go far. I mean, our very own Alex Ayala
Yeah.
is a
Yes.
product of Rafael Nadal's academy, and you know what I mean. And so the Olympics inspiring, getting kids to pick up a racket, getting kids to play sports. It's just I'm really glad that that he was still playing, and I think sinadya niya talaga to make it for the Olympics, diba? He's like, I'm gonna be there, like we know that it's been difficult, injury wise, but he was like, I need to play this, one last time. And so I think there's so much to say, and that was just one of the really good moments for me.
Bea, in the interest of time, we're going to combine your last 2 items here because you mentioned 2 specific years in his career. 2022, later on in his career, obviously he had such an impressive campaign. And also you mentioned Wimbledon 2008. Now that's definitely not clay. All right, but then that
was not.
specific tournament was special for
Yeah.
sure. So why those 2 particular years?
Okay, I'm gonna add one more, right?
Okay,
so
go.
Wimbledon 2008, he beat Federer. Okay.
Yeah. Broke your heart, but
in
go on.
In 2022, he beat Djokovic, and then the last one I'm gonna add actually is the 2012 match where he lost to Djokovic. So I'll just go really quickly. The match where he lost to Djokovic in the Australian Open, I think that's one of the longest. I think that maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was one of the longest tennis matches in history.
Yeah.
In 2012, it was like 6 hours, and I think it's just seeing him lose something so heartbreaking. And that's why in 2022, the Australian Open, when he finally won it, there's just so much heartbreak attached to the Australian Open. Like his success in Roland Garros, the Australian Open, he's had like big, that match against Djokovic. He even lost against Fed in 2017. So that's why I really, really loved it when he won Australian Open, because we know that there's that story behind, again, he's a great champion, but he's also lost some pretty heartbreaking matches. So the thing with these, these amazing athletes is how they're able to just mentally recover from something that they were so close to taking. You know what I mean? Like a 6-hour match could have gone anyway. So I love that so much. Of course, Wimbledon 2008. I recently watched the highlights of this match, and wow, they, in their prime, absolutely crazy. You guys should just watch the highlights of this match. He finally beats, Federer was the defending champion, and Nadal finally kind of like takes, introduces himself to the world and be like, I just beat, Federer on his favorite surface. And it was just such a, I guess obviously we knew that this is the first of many amazing matches, and it was emotional. I think that was his first Wimbledon, if I'm not mistaken. He was so young. So I think that was my number one, because if you watch it, it's like, wow, that is incredible tennis. That's like 200% energy and power and tenacity. So yeah, o diba hindi yan biased?
Oh, hindi yan
Paano si
biased.
Federer sa pinili ko?
No, Bea, this is going to be my last question for you for today. You've mentioned like the greats of the greats, Andy Roddick. I've also seen celebrities on social media like Trevor Noah. They've mentioned how sad they are that Nadal's leaving tennis. But for you, in 3 words, how would you describe Nadal's career and legacy? 3 words lang.
Oh gosh,
Got
Nadal.
this. That's my challenge for you this morning.
3 words. Okay. I would say I have to go with
Dun, dun, dun.
that spin. The spin, obviously, he's known for that.
Yeah.
Power, and we'll add in the superstition.
Spin, power, and
'cause-
superstition. Okay.
Yeah, he has those those very, very unique pre-game rituals that makes him who he is, and it was just wonderful to see it consistently throughout his career. So that one's not so serious, but I think I love him. Before I go, I know that I'm a Fed fan, but I think as a tennis fan, you need to appreciate every single moment you have with these greats. Like even Djokovic, every time he steps on the court, I'm like, wow, we are blessed to see this man play, and that's how I felt with Nadal. Even if I was rooting for Fed when he would play, I just knew that we were treated to something special, and it's weird that Fed and Nadal are no longer on the tour. But we're getting old.
I know.
You had to bring up age, Bea.
I had to.
That was on you. But then thank you so much for joining us today and being as unbiased as you possibly can.
Yes, absolutely unbiased. No, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk tennis and to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Bea Fabregas-Ramos joining us live on the phone from Singapore.